Let's continue from where we stopped. I'll go back to the dashboard and let's look at menus and the theme editor. So I'll click on to menu under appearance. We are still in appearance. I'll click on menu. Here we can create a new menu by giving our menu a name. Currently, we don't have any menu at all. So I can start by entering a menu name. I'll call this main menu because this is the menu I want to be my primary menu. You can as well call it primary menu. Then I would click on create menu. Notice how when our menu was created, we have these menu item options enabled. For a basic WordPress installation, you have these menu items you can select from: pages, posts, custom links, or categories. If you go over to pages, you can select a page and add it to the menu item. So we have About Us page. Same thing for posts. You can select a post and add it to a menu item. So I'll go ahead and save this and let's see how it looks like on the front end. I'll click on Save Menu. And when I reload and scroll back up, we have our About Us and our sample page already selected here. Note, these are pages. So this theme automatically samples these pages here as menus. Let's go back to the dashboard. Notice how we have how to buy from us here, but instead we are having sample page. This is because we have two pages and the 2020 theme is smart enough to display those pages on the menu item here because it has seen that we don't have any menu. It's trying to create a menu from our already existing page. Now what if I want to have something different as our menu? How would I control that? You may be wondering, I just created a menu and saved it, but it did not apply here. That is because we have not selected the menu settings where to display our menu location. We have different menu locations here, and depending on your theme, the menu location can differ. This theme 2020, which is a default WordPress theme, has about 5 menu locations here. So if we select the desktop horizontal menu, this is the primary menu. So if I click on Save Menu, notice the menu items we have here: About Us and a post, How to Buy From Us. You can see your menu item type over here. We have page and post. Then this is the menu title. So if you click on this arrow down, you can change the title from, for instance, here our post title says How to Buy From Us. We can decide that our menu should be Buying Guide. You can move the menu up or move it all the way to the top if you have other menus above it. And here you can see that the original post title is How to Buy From Us. So having done that, I would close this back and I will save our menu. Notice I have selected the menu location as desktop horizontal. So if I go to the front end and I reload this page and scroll back up, we have our menu selected. So if I click on Buying Guide, this takes us to the posts on How to Buy From Us. So let's go back and add some more menu items to our menu. Personally, when I start any web design project, I would already have my content and concepts for the website. The content includes the company profile or a little text about the company. From there, I can decide what menus I want to display on my website. Even though I've not created the pages yet or created the content, I would add those menus as placeholders so they can guide me as I proceed with the website design. And here is how I do it. Let's close these pages, for instance, and open up the custom link. This custom link menu item allows you to link your menu item to an external URL. Let me quickly demonstrate that. Let's say, for instance, our link text should be Google resource, and I'll add the external link to the URL, for instance, in this case, google.com, and then I'll add this to menu. So we have the Google resource menu added, and I'll click on Save Menu. If I go over to the front end and reload this, we have Google resource. So if I click on this, it takes me straight to Google. So I'll go back and then go back to my dashboard. Now coming back to my statement where I like to arrange my menus before creating my content, I can decide to make this the home page even though I don't have a home page yet. So I'll call this home, and instead of a URL, I would enter the pound sign or hashtag sign. What this means is this menu here will be linking to nowhere. Alternatively, I can decide to leave it empty. So if I save the menu, I'll go back to the front end and reload this. If I click on home, it's not even clickable. You can see when I bring my mouse over home, it turns to a cursor, but I can't click to type. So nothing happens. But if I go back and add the pound sign in the URL, then I'll save my menu. Going back to the front end, the icon has changed to tell me that this is now a link. And if I click on this, the page will load but come back to where it was. This means that it's not linking to anywhere. Now, usually, you would have home as the beginning or the first menu item. You can easily move your menu items around from the dashboard. Just click and drag on any item and move it to any position you want and drop it there. So that takes up that position. Remember, when you make any changes to your menu, you have to click on Save Menu before you go to the front end to preview your changes. So I would go ahead and add some more menus to populate the menu section. Under Custom Links, I would add Portfolio. So here we have a good number of menu items. So I would click on Save Menu and then preview our changes on the front end. I intentionally created this merge menu to cause this problem. So here you can see that our menu is breaking to the next line. You must not have all your menu items spread out like this. Most times you want to have a parent menu and also some other menu items as a child. For instance, under About Us, I want to add Awards, Company Overview, and our mission under the About Us menu. So when a user takes his mouse or her mouse over the menu item, they get a drop down of other child menus. So that way we have a clean menu item and also maximize our space. So going back to the dashboard, I would look for Company Overview, then click and drag upwards to the position where About Us is, still holding down my mouse button. I'll move it further to the right. You would see a dotted line around the menu item you want to drop. So once you see that line, it means it is safe to release the mouse button. So I'll let the mouse button go, and now we have a sub menu item. I'll do this for the rest. Now we have 3 sub-menu items under About Us. So About Us is the parent, and Company Overview, our mission, and Awards are the children. So I would save the menu and preview this on the home page. So here we have our menu beautifully displayed with the arrow down next to About Us. And when we take our mouse over About Us, we have these sub-menus here. So I'll go back to the dashboard. Notice how all the recent menu items I created has the menu item type as custom link. Like I said, it is just to guide me on the number of pages I would need to create and develop content for to make up my website. Under the menu settings, you can see auto add pages. If I have this selected, any page I create on my WordPress website will automatically add it as a menu, and I don't want that. For instance, if I create a privacy policy page, I don't want it to appear on my main menu here. Rather, I can create a new menu by clicking on the create a new menu icon here. Then I can call this footer menu. Click on create menu to unlock the menu items here. Then for instance, let's say I want this to be privacy policy. I'll click on add menu, then I'll add another one. Let's say terms of use. Now click on add menu. Now I want this menu to appear on my footer. So I'll go back, go to widgets. Remember, we talked about widgets in the previous lesson. So I can add a menu or a menu item to widgets. So I'll scroll to look for the available widgets. Okay, here we have navigation menu. So I'll click and drag that widget. I'll take it up a bit. I want to add this to the footer 2 widget, and I want it to come last. So I'll drop it there, and here I can select a title or add a title. Let me call this footer menu. Then I can select the menu. Remember, we created 2 menus. We have the primary menu and the footer menu. So I'll select the footer menu and then I'll click on save. Now if I go to my front end and reload, we have footer menu here. You can call this anything other than footer menu. You can decide to call it useful links or resources. Remember to always click on save once you make any changes to your widget. So moving forward, the next thing to look at is the theme editor. We are still under appearance. So if I click on editor, You are probably wondering why I skipped background. Now look at this. If I click on background, it takes me to the customize. And remember, in the previous section or the previous lesson, we talked about the customize. So for some reason, WordPress had to make a separate menu item for background, but honestly, it all links back to customize. So what this basically means is you can change or add a background image to your WordPress website. You can also play around with the parameters here. For instance, you can uncheck scroll with page, so to keep the image static while you scroll, or select it back to scroll everything together. Well, I see no reason or no sense why WordPress would separate this customize option and make it a separate sub menu item under appearance, but you can easily get it from the customize section. Now you understand why I skipped background. So back to the theme editor. The theme editor allows you to make changes to .css file. This is a file within your WordPress file manager. If you are familiar with coding, you can make changes to your CSS file. You don't need to mess with any of these files here if you don't know what you're doing. So I would recommend you stay away from this section, as you can break your theme by making changes to any text here. But then, if you understand CSS, you can easily customize the look and feel of your website in a very smart and powerful way without the stress of clicking around. Over here on the right side, you can see other theme files. You have PHP files also. You can make changes to them without having to go through your control panel and accessing the file manager. Again, make changes to these files only if you know what you're doing. We have come to the end of this lesson. See you in the next lesson.